الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى يوم الدين. We are approaching Eid al-Fitr, and some of the questions that people have is about Zakat al-Fitra, and we mentioned some of the rulings and we mentioned some of the rulings about Zakat al-Fitr last night. So we're going to continue, inshallah, till Eid. If there's any questions about Zakat al-Fitr, we will try to answer them. We said that this zakat is not only for those that are fasting, it is for everybody. They have to pay this zakat whether they're fasting or not fasting. It is a zakat, it is wajib, and it is an Islamic tax. The time period for it we mentioned last lesson or last discussion, and so we said that it is from the night of the Eid, from the eve of the Eid, until those that pray, those that do the Salatul Eid, they have to pay for their Eid between Eve and the Salat, and those that don't do Salat until Salat al-Dhuhr or the noon prayer. What happens if a person forgets or doesn't set it aside? Well, they would have to, with the intention of Qurbat or getting close to Allah, they would not make the intention that it's qada or ada, that they're just going to relieve their duty and they're going to pay for it. This is the same if somebody hasn't paid the previous year's Zakat al-Fitra. What is and how, so that is about the time period. When does it become wajib? Can a person give it in advance, Zakat al-Fitra? Can you right now already give it to that poor person now? No. Zakat al-Fitr becomes wajib during these two times, this time, between in the night of Eid, the eve of Eid, until the Salat or Dhuhr. A person can, and there's other intentions, you maybe give a loan to somebody and then you make the intention that they become the owner later on. There's certain intentions that they can do, but itself you could not give it in advance. How much is it? How much is Zakat al-Fitra? It is about 3 kilograms, about 6.6 pounds of food items. Food items that are used in your town. If they eat rice, if they use wheat for cooking or barley, you can calculate any of these. You can calculate the cheapest one of these, it's okay. Some people think that when it means by qut al-ghalib, they think that it means that it's the food that I eat. Because I eat a lot of rice, now I have to calculate rice. That's wrong. You can calculate a higher food commodity, it's okay. There's nothing wrong, you pay more. But what it is what they mean by qutul ghalib means the food that's prevalent and used in your city. It's a staple food item. It's an item that's used prevalently, and you can't calculate items that aren't used in your city. Basically, some of the institutions that have organizations that have calculated it ranges between $10. Well, I think Yasin will formally say exactly, because maybe California might be a little bit more expensive, but some of the institutions I saw $10, they announced it, maybe $12, maybe up to $15, I don't know, but it's going to be around inshallah, this price around. And there's going to be other issues about Zakat al-Fitr. Who has to pay it? To whom do we have to pay it? And what if a Sayyid and a non-Sayyid, is there any difference? These are issues that inshallah in the following nights we will mention, so that we can learn our ahkam and inshallah pay our Zakat al-Fitr, because the narrations say this is for a person's fast to be accepted, so they can pay their Zakat al-Fitr and act upon the obligations that Allah has placed for us. Please give a salawat. Tonight is, I believe it will be the 28th of the month of Ramadan, and we're approaching the end of being a guest of Allah. the end of a specific rahmat and mercy that Allah has placed in these nights. It is not too late for Allah to forgive us. For those that have not sought forgiveness, those that have not repented, the month of Ramadan is not over. There are narrations that from the beginning of the month of Ramadan, Allah begins to free people from the hellfire. And as the nights progress, He frees more and more, وَيُضَاعَفْ. And وَضَاعَفَ, and multiplies and multiplies and increases until the end of the month of Ramadan, which He even frees more people. So the end is also a time of mercy and rahmat of Allah. And as we said, which was mentioned before, one of the greatest things that will cause us, besides the walayat of the imams and the mercy and the fadl of Allah, to go and pass the sirat and the narrow bridge into heaven is having, it says in the narrations, having good akhlaq, having good behavior. As it says in the narration, man hassana minkum fi hadha ash-shahr khuluqahu kana lahu jawazun ala sirat. So whoever makes his behavior, his akhlaq better, this will be permission to go, inshallah, to heaven. Last night we started a topic, but it continued the topic that we were talking about, and that was the topic of ubudiyat and being a servant of Allah. And we said that one of the greatest forms of being a slave of Allah is in marriage. Ubudiyat can show itself, and a person can refine himself or herself in marriage much greater than maybe other places. And the outlook that we have about marriage should change. How we understand marriage, our perception about marriage, and relating it to this whole concept of ubudiyat, being a slave and servant of Allah. This is very important for those that choose to be married, and those are important to those that are married already. To look at marriage, this great institution that nothing structure is more loved in the eyes of Allah than marriage. Let's look at it and analyze it as an abd does, a servant of Allah does. A servant of Allah, when he approaches marriage, he sees that God is going to give him even more obligations, even more takalif. When he's single, he doesn't have obligations. When he becomes a man, now nafaqa, providing for his family, it becomes wajib. Now he has to please his wife. The wife has to please the husband. If they have kids, and later on they have kids, he has to take care of them, do their best to raise them. All these difficult obligations and tasks that sometimes scare young people away. And I don't want to be negative about this, but it is a great responsibility, and it is not as easy as sometimes they tell the young people before they get married, that it's going to be perfectly sweet, it's going to be excellent. It might be difficult, and it will be difficult. But when you look at it in the eyes, in the way that an abd, a servant of Allah looks at it, he sees that this is a great chance for him to get purified. This is a great chance for him to reach Allah. Because I'll tell you this, brothers and sisters, if a person is just a servant of Allah when it comes to the masjid, and just a servant of Allah when it comes to the prayer mat, but when he goes home, he bothers his children, he bothers his wife, or his wife bothers him, he is or she is not an abd. Allah tests us in marriage. This is one of the great tests of Allah. And we said, what is the core of ubudiyat? What is the core of being a servant of Allah? In it is fighting against your nafs. One of the greatest jihads we have is fighting against the nafs. It's even greater than the physical jihad. The jihad of the nafs of marriage is unlike other jihad in nafs. It's going to be 24/7. It's going to be a person limiting himself. And we said that the nafs in marriage is going to be managed by the desires that they have. Their desires are going to have to be managed. And that is the beauty of marriage. Those things that they want to do when they're single, they were free, they could come home late at night whenever they wanted to, they could visit their friends, they parents, we said, cooked for them, their dad provided for them. Now they go into a more responsible lifestyle, but this responsible lifestyle with the taklif it has, it is a great chance for that person now to become kamil and to become perfect. And we look at marriage as a way and means to develop us and make us a greater servant of Allah. If a person believes this before they enter marriage, inshallah, a lot of the false expectations of marriage will go away, and maybe some of these expectations that lead to divorce will go away. They look at it as a competition between who's going to do the most khair, who's going to do the most good. So when their wife yells at them and they're quiet, he says, it's okay, I have gained one khair, she has not gained khair, I have one, right? This way. So we look at marriage as an ibadat, as ubudiyat, as being a slave. And we said that a mu'min changes himself, changes his desires and what he wants according to his family. He eats, for example, what they want to eat. A hypocrite eats, their family eats, their shahwat, it says, in eating, their desires in eating is whatever the husband wants. The husband wants to have this tonight, they're going to have it. No, I want this tonight, tomorrow night. They have to have it, right? That is the characteristic of a munafiq, a hypocrite, according to the narrations. So, in our narrations, we also said that man ahabba an yalqa Allah tahiran mutahharan falyatafaf bizawjah. Whoever wants to see Allah pure, come to in the day of judgment accompanied by his wife. And the worst of the people, and we said, those that are afraid of taklif, those that are afraid of responsibility, those that love to keep their nafs free and do whatever it wants, those that don't seek marriage. Because that is the life of being free without any responsibility. As they say, an animal is free and doesn't have responsibilities. It does whatever it wants. But an insan steps up to these responsibilities, to these challenges, and uses it to worship Allah. And we talked about making that intention in tawfiq or niyat, that you make everything, your entire life in ibadat, and you make your marriage the way you see it as a true test and ibadat and worship of Allah. And you see all the different difficulties in marriage as a training and conditioning of your nafs. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to not eat or sleep to do jihad and nafs. Being sometimes hurt, being sometimes yelled at, maybe sometimes being in situations or gatherings, family gatherings you don't want to. This is something that is conditioning the nafs. There's this story, I don't know how accurate it is. It's maybe you can say it's a fairy tale, but I think it's more of a Sufi story, but it's interesting. They said they went to visit one of these great arifs, and he heard that this arif had all these karamat and all these great. This teacher in Akhlaq al-Qawm, he's an important teacher, said this story, so I'm going to say it too. He went to visit this great teacher of Akhlaq that had karamat and was an arif. And then when he visited, he found his home, he knocked at their door and said, where's Falani? And his wife started going off on, you mean Falani, this person? He started doing ghaybat and tuhmat and whatever sin that the tongue could do, started spilling it on the husband. Then they saw the husband. I said, this might be a fairy tale. They saw that big arif or whatever and saw him and said that he's riding a lion. He's on top of a lion and riding it. And then he talks to him, why don't you divorce her? Why don't you get rid of her? What is she saying? You have all these great gifts from Allah. He says, I got these gifts from her. I was patient and she would abuse me, and I used it to get close to Allah. This is just a story for us to, inshallah, encourage us. Maybe one day I'll come here and everybody has all these great gifts, or maybe the sisters have all these great gifts from the husbands because of doing jihad and nafs. So we said that understanding and the expectations we have to change. And I'm not discouraging anybody from marriage. We have to look at the greatness of marriage, yes. And I'm going to talk about some of the positive points of marriage that in the Quran, one of the great ayahs of the Quran says one of the goals of marriage is what in the Quran? وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you can have peace and you can have tranquility with her. You can have peace. So this is one of the benefits. It's not all negative. When you get married, there will be also times of peace. There will be times of war. There will be times of peace. Inshallah, when we get a good spouse or a good wife or a good husband, we will have more areas of peace. But it is very natural. If somebody, when they get married, it's going to be very natural. Because human beings, if you spend a lot of time with somebody, they might say something that you don't like. They might do something that you don't like. And just view this as conditioning of the nafs. View this as jihad al-nafs. Instead of trying to lose sleep or not eating to fight your nafs, just be patient and fight with your nafs. Also the Quran says the goal of marriage is peace and tranquility. And that comes about with this, inshallah, at the end of tonight's speech. We will talk about some of the ways that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam and Tuhaf al-Uqul advised us to what 3 things that a man should do and 3 things that a wife should do, inshallah, to implement this, to have a good marriage, to have a successful marriage. And then the Quran, after is trying peace and tranquility, the ayah continues, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Allah have placed between the man and his wife mawadda, which is love, and rahma, which they translate as mercy. Basically, they both might be love and mercy, but there are some smaller, differences. Some say, what's the difference between mawadda and love? Some say that mawadda means to show it, to show your love. Not necessarily do you always have to have that love in you to show love. That's one of the mistakes people make. When I say, for example, and I mentioned the name of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inside your heart you love him, but you might have had a lot to eat. You don't really feel like giving a salawat, but you express it even though you're not ready for it, right? So mawadda can happen sometimes. Inside there is love, but you're not ready for it. They say a person that tells his wife, I love you, that I love you will never leave the heart of his wife. So mawadda is more expressing your love. Not only, maybe it might be even more important than just loving her and not showing it. Because a woman, a lot of times, she has doubts. Does he love me or does he not love me? Does he love me or not? So expressing it and showing it can give her, inshallah, that confidence and that tranquility that she needs, that she deserves from the Quran that it says. And some say that mawadda is that love from the beginning you have, and some say rahmat is that love when you get old and you've aged and you have rahmat on each other, you have mercy on one another. Now they're old, they need to be on a wheelchair, someone has rahmat and pushes them. Or they need their cane and they have rahmat and they give them their cane. Inshallah, that those that are married, they'll age with one another. I want to say this hadith before I forget too, that also it's interesting, there is a dua they say the Prophet did, the Messenger of Allah did, about getting a wife, seeking refuge from Allah, from a wife that makes me age before my time. That getting, sometimes there are spouses, even for, I'm not saying this, the sisters also, that they can, na'udhu billah, get a husband or wife, that they're going to age. And this is, if I don't mention it tonight, the Arabic, you can ask me later, that there's narrations that the Prophet did this dua, that I seek refuge from a wife that makes me age, puts so much pressure on me that I'm going to age before the time that I'm supposed to age. So we talked about mawaddat and rahmat, and there are some differences between the two. Let's recite a salawat. So we're going to mention this narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. So we said that the goal of marriage is peace and tranquility from this ayah of the Quran. In marriage, there will be mercy, there will be love. A person will be able to grow, inshallah. And what I said is that approach, I'm not just trying to be negative. There's going to be very beautiful aspects of marriage, inshallah, but it's important not to have false expectations and the way that somebody lived. They're going to assume that they're going to be a commander, and they're going to tell their wife exactly what they want to eat and do. Their wife has to obey. It's not going to be like that. The Imam Sadiq alayhi salam gives some very great advice to the men and very great advice to the women. To the men, he says this, that there's 3 matters that a person should have, 3 things. Husband should never dispense with 3 matters in the course of their relations with their wife. There's 3 things that a husband should have, is in need of. One is وَهِيَ الْمُوَافِقَةِ. The first thing that Imam Sadiq in Tuhaf al-Uqud, this has been translated in English if you'd like to look it up. The first thing that Imam Sadiq, for us to have a good marriage, a good family, is al-muwafiqah, of the husband to the wife. Meaning that he should have adaptability. He should have adaptability. He should, in some manners, in some ways, comply with his wife. She might want something, she might think something in the home, for example, some decorations. She likes it this way, she wants maybe the table, the chair this way, that painting this way, she wants you to wear this clothes. You should comply and have muwafiqah with her. It's not that you come home and you're like, I'm the leader of the house, change the chair now, change that way, wear this clothes. No. Have muwafiqah, and in the narrations it says, لَيَجْتَلِبَ بِهَا, so that you can gain from her muwafaqataha wa mahabbataha wa hawaha. You will gain her love, her desire, and her compliance. Be easy with her. When she wants something, have muwafiqah. When she wants to do something, also, they say, I don't know if it's Imam Sadiq or Imam Baqir alayhi salam. There's a story that he was wearing a shirt, a color, the infallible Imam, that when a companion came to him and he asked, why are you wearing this color? It's a color, maybe it's like a red color, or a color that maybe it was a color that was not fitting for the Imam. And the Imam said basically that my wife likes this color. So this is called muwafiqah. I'm going to adapt myself to her wants. But does this mean that I adapt to everything that she wants? Because there's also different wives and different women that some of them, unfortunately, this will be true. Whatever you do, they may not be pleased. Whatever you do. And this is when a man becomes completely submitted to her, that whatever when she thinks that I'm not satisfied with you, it crushes him. He really believes this truly, and it crushes him, and he begins to do anything just to please her all the time, and even maybe things that are against the hadith and Quran. No, we have muwafiqah, but also have balance. Those things that she wants to have, those things that if she wants to eat something tonight, she wants to go out, or same with, well, this is for the husband, so later on we'll talk about for the woman. So have muwafiqah, have adaptability, compliance. The second thing, وَحُسْنُ خُلْقِهِ مَعَهَا, have good morality, have good akhlaq with her. Be very courteous, respect her. The Prophet there's this famous narration, it's in Aman La Yahdur, you probably have heard it. The Prophet said, خَيْرُكُمْ لَأَهْلِهِ. The best of you is those that are the best with their family. Sometimes it's the opposite. We're very good with everybody else, but we're very bad with our family members. We're bad with our wife, or our wife might be bad with their husband. The best of you is he who is the best with their family members. Do you want to know who's a good brother? Look at their family. See if they're satisfied with this brother. I mentioned that story that my teacher said last night, that Ayatollah Mushtahidi said later on, when the scholars, the talaba, they become scholars, don't look at how many people pray behind you. look to see if your wife prays behind you, right? See if she's radi with you, if she's satisfied with you. That is the symbol that you're going to be on the right path. And then the Prophet said, وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لَأَهْلِي, and I am the best with my family. Right? خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِي وَأَنَا خَيْرُكُمْ لَأَهْلِي. I'm the best with my family. The worst are those that destroy, ruin their wife. مَلْعُونٌ مَلْعُونٌ مَنْ ضَيَّعَ مَنْ يَعُودُ. The worst are those that ruin their wife, destroy their wife. The third thing that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, and this is more of an economic, is توسعته عليها. Those that can, those that can afford it, be generous when it comes to your wife, your children. Don't be stingy when it comes to them. True, there's all these narrations have balance. I'm not saying when a person looks at these, but it should have a balance. And it says in the narrations that those that provide أرضاكم عند الله أوسعكم على عياله. Those, the best of you in Allah's eyes, are those that provide amply for their family members. Those that provide, give them gifts. Allow them basically those things that they want. Do you want me to buy this for you? Do you want to buy this? Again, though, with a good measure, not to spend all your salary right when it comes and there's a sale somewhere and it's all gone at the first day. Right? To have good measure, but also when she wants something and the husband, because in these narrations, nafaqa in Islam is obligatory on the man. It's a man's duty, it's wajib on him to provide for his family. It's not the duty of a woman to provide for her husband, right? It's the duty of the man. If a woman wants to help out, if they need to help out, that's up to her. But it is the duty of a man, just like it is the duty of a father to provide for their children. It is also the duty of the children, if their father is in poverty, to provide for the father. It goes both ways. But the economic responsibility is for the man. لَيْسَ مِنَّا, from us, the Ahlul Bayt, a lover of the Ahlul Bayt, or a Shia of the Ahlul Bayt, مَنْ وُسِعَ عَلَيْهِ ثُمَّ قَتَرَ عَلَيْهِ عَلَى عِيَالِهِ. Whoever is affluent but is stingy with his wife does not belong, is not part of us. Someone that is stingy. So these were the three things for the men, and we'll say it again so we can, inshallah, practice it. First thing we said is muwafaqa, complying with them, adapting to their needs. 2, we said that it's going to be a person should have husn khulq, should have good akhlaq, good behavior, and that is the best of you, of those that are the best with their family members. And the third, we said, are those that are not stingy when it comes to their wife, and they are very generous. But again, all of these is in a balance. In a balance, inshallah, these duties that if we perform, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, in this narration, is giving us advice on how to have a successful marriage. What about the sisters? Now it's the sisters' side. The sisters, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says these three attributes or these three matters she should have. The first, وهي صيانة نفسها عن كل دنس حتى يطمئن قلبه إلى الثقة بها في حال المحبوب والمكروه. Is that a wife should guard themselves against any danas, anything bad, so that they can win their husband's confidence in good and bad situations. That it's interesting for the husband, it's to bring her to do muwafaqat, but it's right now for the sister, it says to be so chaste, to bring such a great belief in the husband that he trusts her, that he doesn't have any doubt in her, and he doesn't have any doubt in her whatsoever. He has 100% confidence in her in regards to his money, in regards to her money, in regards to what she's saying, in regards to herself, that she is so pious that the husband becomes 100% confident that she is going to be a loyal wife. And then in the second part, وحياطته ليكون ذلك عاطفا عليها عند زلة تكون منها. and that she would take care of the husband. She would serve the husband or do khidmat. There's both ways. The husband, there's narrations about the husband serving the wife. Then there's narrations about the woman serving the wife. This serving and helping out each other in the narrations, it has such great reward. Some of them, it says when the husband serves the wife, equal to the hairs that a husband has, their sins are forgiven, or it's hajj, if it's Sawm or it's fasting, each hair that he has. And for the sisters, those that help their husbands, I'm going to read to you some narrations about this. Those that help out each other. It says this, that if a woman from this narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, that if a woman moves something in the house, she's working in the house, and she just moves something from one place to one place with the intention of improving it, it is regarded as Allah's mercy, and Allah does not punish those that He has His mercy. مَنْ نَظَرَ وَمَنْ نَظَرَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ لَمْ يُعَذِّبْهُ. A person, that a wife just moves something from the house to this house with the intention of ubudiyat, that marriage is going to bring me towards Allah, she will not be punished by the hellfire. So what a higher thing do we want from this? Somebody that helps her husband. And so it's fair also the husband, if a man sits with his family, is more beloved in the sight of Allah than spending the night in the worship in the mosque of mine, in Masjid al-Nabi. How much thawab is their worship in the Masjid al-Nabi? If a person spends the night in Masjid al-Nabi, if he sits with his wife, sits with his family, sits with his wife, it is more thawab than in being in Masjid al-Nabi. The third thing, so the first one we said that a woman gains the confidence, itminan, it's the itminan of the husband, right? The trust of the husband. The second thing is that a person, we said, takes care of the husband. Maybe however way, if she wants to help out with his clothes, if she wants to help out with the organization in the house, she helps him. Third, وَإِظْهَارُ الْإِشْقِ, in that the wife tells the husband that I love you, and it says in the narrations, lahu bil-khalaba, in a nice way, in a way that basically khalaba is, say al-khudda bil-lisan, somehow like, in a way that is going to intrigue him in a beautiful way, is going to intrigue him, speak nicely to him in a way. Right? So, إظهار العشق, right? والهيئة الحسنة لها في عينه, and to have a good appearance, right? So these are the three things for the woman and the three things for the man that a person can act upon. Now what happens, it says here with the tongue basically, when you mention good things to the husband. There's also women that unfortunately, they might say things that are bad to the husband. And the husband has to tolerate these things. Or there might be a husband that might say things to the woman and she has to be tolerant of those things. Does this mean that, according to these narrations, that these things are allowed in Islam, even though a person should have patience? No. It might happen, and this is a fault that a spouse has when they mistreat each other. But it says basically that what you do is you have to have patience. And that is how in life, you can have a good relationship with people. It says to have taghaful. When you hear something, it's as if you didn't even hear it. You neglect it, you overlook it. Because if you were to exactly act upon everything, and especially when people are young, they have a lot of energy. They hear something that they wanted. The wife might say, I didn't see anything good from you ever. And the husband is young and wants to answer back. What do you mean? I've done this for you, I've done that for you, I've done this for your parents, and they've done this to me. And then it opens up something that you don't want at all, right? So it has that state of taghaful, neglecting. You're not losing your manhood if you don't answer back. You're not being dhalil if you don't answer back. You're being hakim and wise. Because when somebody does a negative action to somebody else, there's three possible reactions. Either they have a worse reaction, which everybody says is worse, or they have an equal reaction, which is the normal people, or they have the humble and the reaction of the prophets and the Ahlul Bayt and the Imams. They treat badness with fairness and goodness. Imagine if it didn't happen and then later on they even do more good for them. This will bring, inshallah, the narration that says that if a woman has a bad husband, and imagine he abuses her verbally, maybe even physically, she will have the station of Asiyah, the wife of Fir'aun. And if a husband has a wife that abuses her, or she is jumpy, she has a bad attitude all the time, she's never happy, that he gets the stage, it says every day or every night, of Ayub, the Prophet Ayub. When you look at the narrations about those that have patience, those that tolerate somebody being mistreated, I'm going to read to you some of them. Imam Ali alayhi salam tells his son, Imam Hassan, لا يكون أهلك أشقى الخلق بك. Your family should not feel like the most miserable people with you. Do not make your family feel miserable. Do not mistreat your wife. Or basically, the Prophet said, I'm astonished at a believing person that abuses his wife, that basically believes in Islam or pretends to be a mu'min but abuses or beats his wife. Inshallah, that doesn't happen in our community, inshallah. And I was going to read to you also that narration about aging. This was the dua from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, says this, كان من دعاء رسول الله أعوذ بك من امرأة تشيبني قبل مشيبي. I seek refuge from a woman that makes me old, causes me to age before my time. Right? So when we look at marriage together and we look at these aspects that we approach marriage as an ibadat, is an act of worship, and we don't limit our acts of worship just to sujood, that our entire life, our entire day can be in the state of ruku and sujood and prostration with this intention. With our work can be the same way, and especially with our family members. And to change our outlook, to know that it will be difficult, but it also will have tranquility, will have mercy, will also have kindness in it. And that this is one of the great challenges that Allah has, that when a young person wants to get married, they have to know they're going to be limiting themselves. And this limitation is also at the same time conditioning the nafs and making them a greater abd of Allah. Please recite a salawat. You can dim the lights. Tonight is the night of Friday. It is the last night of Friday in the month of Ramadan this year. We take our hearts and souls to Karbala, and we want to remember one of the greatest heroes of Karbala and one of the Bab al-Hawa'ij, which is Abu al-Fadl Abbas, tonight, the great brother of Imam Hussein. Inshallah, through this great holy person, we will get, inshallah, those that are not married, those that are married and have problems, those that are married and don't have a great or perfect marriage, inshallah, through the great hands of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, we will get it. When Hazrat Abbas saw his brother Hussein was alone, he came to his brother and asked, he says that, brother, do I have permission to go and spend my life for you, sacrifice my life for you? There Imam Hussein, it was his dear brother, He says, فَبَكَى الْحُسَيْنِ بُكَاءً شَدِيدًا. There Imam Hussein began to cry dearly. That Abbas comes and says, I want to become martyred now. Abbas says, I want to go. Imam Hussein says to him, you are my flag bearer. And if you go, my army will be devastated. But Abbas says, فَقَالَ الْعَبَّاسِ قَدْ طَاقَ صَدْرِي. My chest is in pain. I have to go. I can't tolerate this anymore. Let me go. He's the hero of Islam, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. He will destroy the army. Whoever wants to sign their death, they would come and fight with Abbas. Whoever knew they were going to die, they wanted to die, they would challenge Abbas. He says, فَقَدْ ضَاقَ صَدْرِي. My chest is in pain. So before Abbas goes to the battlefield, he went to get, Imam Hussein told him to get some water for his family members before you go. Go and get water for Ruqayya, for Sukaina. Aliyah Asghar, a 6-month-old baby, he's thirsty. Go and get water for them. So Abbas goes. He goes towards the Euphrates. And there crowds of soldiers come. He hits them. He goes forward more. There, Abbas comes, and you've all heard this, but every time we hear this, we are in more pain. He came to drink some of the water. فَلَمَّا أَرَادَ أَنْ يَشْرُبْ غُرْفًا مِنَ الْمَاءِ ذَكَرَ عَطَشَ الْحُسَيْنِ وَأَهْلَ بَيْتِهِ. But he remembered, when he came to drink, he remembered the thirst of Imam Hussein. This is the loyalty of Abbas. This is the loyalty when they say Banin asked Zainab after she came back from Karbala, what about my sons? Were they loyal? Was Abbas loyal? And he was the manifestation of loyalty in Karbala. فَرَمَى الْمَاءَ وَمَلَأَ الْقِرْبَةَ وَحَمَلَهَا عَلَى كِتْفِهِ الْأَيْمَنِ. He spilled the water out. He didn't drink water. And filled the jug with water and carried it with his right soldier. He went towards the tents, but they blocked the tent. There they came. Nawfal al-Azraq comes and hits Abbas on his right hand arm. Then he comes and hits his left hand. فَقَطَعَ يَدَهُ الْيُسْرَى مِنَ الزَّنْ. And then in the Maghatal it says that Abbas carries the water with his teeth. And there, فَجَاءَ سَهْمٌ آخَرْ فَأَصَابَ الصَّدْرَ. Then another arrow comes and hits the chest of Abbas. And there it is, فَانْغَلَبَ عَلَى فَرْسِهِ. There Abbas falls from his horse. But you know, brothers and sisters, when someone falls from their horse, if he has arms, he will block his fall. But Abbas did not have arms now. And he falls off the horse. There was Saha ila akhihi al-Hussein adrikni. He yells to his brother, Hussein, my brother, come and save me. Adrikni. فَلَمَّا أَتَى رَآهُ سَرِيعًا. He sees Abbas on the ground, the way that he is. فَبَكَى Hussein. And Hussein there says the sentence that shocks and stays for an eternity. وَقَالَ الْحُسَيْنِ الْآنَ انْكَسَرَ ظَهْرِي. Now my back is broken. Now that I see my dear brother Abbas in such a way, my back is now broken. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba al-Fadl al-Abbas. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba al-Fadl al-Abbas. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba al-Fadl al-Abbas. We ask you, Ya Allah, in the honor of the great champion, the loyalty of Abbas, facilitate the marriage of the brothers and sisters in this community, Ya Allah, inshallah. Those that are married and they want to have a greater marriage, a greater life, a life with tranquility and mawaddat and rahmat, give it to them because of Abbas, inshallah. Those that are sick, one of my friends, he was coming to the masjid, but he could not come. He says, recite Amman Yujib for me. So let's recite it right now, 5 times. Amman yujibul mastarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. Amman yujibul mastarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su'. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. Allah, free those that are in pain, free them from the problems and the calamities of sickness, Ya Allah, inshallah. Tonight is also it's close to the death anniversary of my mother. May Allah also forgive your family members, those that have passed away from this community, and my own mother, Ya Allah, bihaqqa Abul Fadl Abbas, those that are in countries that are war-torn, those that are in countries where they have oppressive rulers, Ya Allah, give them, inshallah, a steady, relieve them from their pain, Ya Allah. Make us of those of the companions of the 12th Imam. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. Please recite another Fatiha and another salawat for the marhumin, inshallah.